Hey there guys, CrossFlux here, and welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. In the last episode, we traversed the exhausting desert region, and we cooled off by facing off with Blastoise and the rest of his rescue team, Team Hydro. In today's episode, we'll be continuing to realize Spinda's dream of finding the Mirage Pokémon. There he is, Spinda's just chilling out here in Pokemon Square. So, in order to do this, we need to get through the lightning field, and as the name would suggest, it's filled to the brim with electric types. So, ground and grass type Pokemon are going to be your go-to teammates for this excursion. I've prepared my team in advance though. I've got Skipper as the leader, and Lizzie and Dotson pulling up the rear. Now, at first glance, Lizzie seems like a terrible teammate to bring into this dungeon, since her flying type gives her a weakness to electric moves. But I ask that you guys trust me. I know what I'm doing. And I'll explain my reasons for bringing her once we get into the dungeon proper. As for the items, I've brought the standard fare. Apples, oranberries, reviver seeds, max elixirs, you know, stuff like that. However, you may have noticed that I've exchanged my common Graveler rocks in exchange for silver spikes. And that's because there's lots of ammunition in the lightning field itself, like sticks and Graveler rocks, and the wild Pokemon in this area are not afraid to pick them up and use them against you. So, I found the best way to combat long-range attacks is with long-range attacks of my own. But enough stalling, let's head on out. Oh, and as one final last reminder, you need to bring the Surf HM with you, or have a Pokemon that knows Surf in order to access this dungeon. So first up, the Lightning Field is a 30-floor dungeon, just like the Fiery Field before it. The layout of this dungeon is similar to most foresty areas that you've been to before, so think of the Sinister Woods or the Frosty Forest. You can expect there to be at least one trap per large open room though, so I highly recommend bringing team members who have the Trap Avoider IQ skill. Dotson here is going to be a bit troublesome for me since he doesn't have many brains yet, but he makes up for it in spirit. Anywho, speaking of traps, the most common ones that you'll find here are Sticky, Warp, and Explosion. So, now that I think about it, you might want to bring a Cleanse Orb or two just to help combat that stickiness. But speaking of other items to bring along, you might also consider bringing Cherry Berries and Persian Bands, because both Paralysis and Confusion are common statuses to run into here. Also, there's a bunch of random weather that can spring up. I've seen everything from snow to rain to sandstorm and even cloudy weather. As for wild Pokemon, I've mentioned earlier that you'll run into mostly electric types. But in addition to those, you can also find Cacturne and Tropius on the later floors. As for the standout threats, I'd watch out for Magneton, since it can use Supersonic to confuse you, and then follow up with a bunch of Sonic Booms for some nasty amounts of fixed damage. If you brought your own electric type into this dungeon, which isn't a terrible idea since electric types resist electric attacks, make sure to turn off their electric moves whenever you're near a Jolteon, since it has the Volt Absorb ability. And the last major threat is Electrode, mostly because they don't respect personal space. Their main tactic is to get in your face and then go boom, so try taking them out from a distance. But at the same time, they also know Sonic Boom, so be careful at a distance as well. So yeah, pretty much those little dynamos are a nuisance no matter where you are. And finally, there's one more Pokemon that I'd like to discuss, and that's Electrike. Recruiting one of these is the equivalent of hitting the easy button on this dungeon, since it has a lightning rod ability. This means that if an electric attack is aimed at you or your teammates, then no matter where on the floor Electrike may be, it'll soak up that attack, and it'll do nothing. So basically having a Pokemon with Lightning Rod gives your entire team electric immunity. Jeez, better nerf next patch. This is actually the reason I decided to bring Lizzie along with me anyways to this dungeon, because despite her electric weakness, I knew it wouldn't be a problem, since my first priority would be to recruit an Electrike of my own. So you can extrapolate this to basically any Pokemon that you have that would normally be weak to electric moves. With that being said, as long as you're willing to bring Electrike or its evolved form Magnetric into the dungeon with you, your team comp could really be anything since you don't have to worry about the major threat of the dungeon. One last thing I want to talk about are the item distributions. So you'll find mostly apples, berries, ammo, and orbs. However, if you're lucky, you might even find some rare stat boosting items like ginseng and iron. Well, sorry if my commentary seems a little bit different today, guys, compared to previous episodes. I've decided to start doing this dungeon explanation part of the commentary in post-commentary format, just because I think it's a little bit easier for me to compose my thoughts without having to worry about what's going on screen while trying to keep track in my head about what I need to talk about in this dungeon and all that jazz. So if you guys like this, think that this is kind of a better way of doing it, I know it's certainly easier on my half as well, then please let me know and I'll keep doing it this way. And actually, you know what, I think I'll probably do this way unless you guys tell me you preferred it the other way around, where I did basically live commentary. So yeah, leave me comments down below, let me know what you think of this. But in the meantime, I think I've explained everything that I really need to say about the lightning field. So I'll see you guys on the 29th floor, just so I can go over some pre-boss battle tactics and preparations and, you know, all that stuff. So I'll see you then. Until the meantime, hit that music. Alright guys, I decided to cut back in here because there's something special about the 29th floor of the lightning field, and that is a one special particular item that you can only get on this floor and this floor alone, and those are Thunderstones. So for those of you who know a bit about Pokemon already, then you know that Thunderstones are an evolutionary item. Specifically, they're used to evolve Eevee into Jolteon or Pikachu into Raichu. So they're pretty common on this floor. I tend to find 2 or 3 each time I come through here. But yeah, I decided to slow it down so I could try and find one on screen with you guys, since I knew it wouldn't be too difficult. But man, if you guys noticed how long this speed up's been going on, man, this 30 floors is a lot longer than it should be. I mean, I guess I did stop to fight quite a few different things, but I mean, it still shouldn't have taken as long as it did. There's a lot of backtracking though too, trying to maneuver our way through all the floors and whatnot. But well, I guess since I'm approaching the stairs now, I can feel it. My stair sniffer's working. There it is. I'm going to go ahead and make sure my team is properly prepared because since this is a story-related mission, there is going to be a boss at the end. I'm a little low on power points, specifically my Ice Beam, but I don't think I'm too worried about it. Turn off Dotson's attack there so that he doesn't accidentally try and use an attack that he can't use. Watson's presence in this boss is going to be very, very handy. So definitely not going to send him home or anything. Why? Why have you come? This is Lightning Field. It is my domain. I am Raikou, one who races with lightning. A body like roiling rain clouds. Hey, it's raining. A roar that echoes thunder. Many have trespassed upon my domain. But what became of them? Let me demonstrate. And you too shall experience the pain they've suffered. Oh, right off the bat here, Raikou. He's honestly not that threatening of a boss, mostly because the team that you use to get through this dungeon is the same team that you're going to be using to fight the boss with. And if your team made it through the lightning field okay, then Raikou is not going to bring any special surprises to the table. He's a pure electric type who uses a bunch of electric type moves of his own. So yeah, if your team can handle electric moves, then he's really just a giant HP sponge. But yeah, just a couple hard hits of your own and he'll go down pretty quick. Whoa, how dare you? How did this happen? But regardless, you have won. Let me hear your wish. Again, the whole silent treatment, eh, Skipper? This is the Red Wing. You, stand back. Now, I really like what Raikou transforms the Red Wing into. The Sunset Wing here looks absolutely gorgeous in my opinion. It looks even better than the next transformation state, but that's just a personal opinion. Go northeast to a place called the Northwind Field. There you will find a Pokemon named Suicune. If you're lucky enough to meet Suicune, perhaps your wish will come true. Perhaps indeed. Well guys, that's about all that I really wanted to show in today's episode. Hope you all enjoyed it as usual. Let me see, anything else I need to say? Can't think of anything, so just have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next episode.